Discover your inner goddess and live up to your highest value and most abundant potential. Welcome to Grateful Goddesses, a podcast that empowers you to unleash your inner goddess and take the leap of faith to live your best life. Your guide, Karen Pulver, joins her fellow goddesses in soulful conversations about gratitude, personal growth, authentic living, and a bevy of topics affecting women today. Let's start the show with your host, Karen Pulver.
We are so excited to be having Julie Albert and Lisa Gnat today. So if you're like me and your kids every night at 6 o'clock are coming down and saying, "What is for dinner?" and you're scrambling, that's me. I look in my fridge, my freezer, I'll take out some frozen chicken, I'll stick it under hot water, I'll splash on some tomato sauce and maybe a hunk of mozzarella. That's the dinner. So it wasn't until my sister-in-law in Toronto gave me a book called Bite Me that I became a rock star in my house. I started to make dishes like puttanesca and coconut crusted shrimp. And all of a sudden you would think I was the culinary goddess. My kids would come in and say, "What's for dinner?" and be very excited to enjoy their dinner. So it is with that I'm so excited to be having our guests today. Julie and Lisa, can you come join us on Grateful Goddesses?
Oh, you are a goddess. We are so happy to be here.
No, I'm so thrilled to be having you because I really have to say that you guys are life changers for my family. Because I was starting to go down this
Thank
path.
you. I did it all myself.
I was starting to go down this path of making like Monday taco or Tuesday tacos, right? Taco Tuesday, Monday Tuesday. Pizza, Wednesday pasta. And my kids were like, what the, not that they're
what
like.
What? Yeah.
Not that they're like these restaurant connoisseurs, but it started to feel like that. And I needed help. It's not that, I just think that, we all need a little support in the kitchen. And your first book, Bite Me, when I got it for a birthday present, first of all, besides the amazing recipes, the photos were so funny. They were hysterical. And especially the fork.
Yes.
That was Fork Me and all of the different photos that you had and different little quotes. So I would love to hear about your journey. So where should we start? Back in the day with the Easy Bake Oven or what do you think?
It has been quite a journey. So in order not to put people to sleep, not to make this a bedtime story, I think we can kind of take you through the steps that have gotten us to where we are today. And I mean, really the journey started 48 years ago when this beauty was born.
Shucks.
And I got to be her big sister because, we sit far back, so you can't tell I'm actually the older one. But growing up, our mom was an incredible cook. And Lisa was always with her in the kitchen. Me, on the other hand, I was upstairs playing on my Commodore 64. And for those of us who are old enough, none of you, but any goddesses listening will understand that reference, that if they're a 70s child. I was upstairs screaming, "What time's dinner?" Mm-hmm. So, I really had no interest in the kitchen, but Lisa, she followed our mom around. She was learning as she was going. And then, fast forward however many years, and we each had 3 kids, and my kids were on a steady diet of noodles and butter. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to cook. And I turned to her. And that was really the genesis of our first book, Bite Me. And it was also, we really were inspired to do it because we wanted to be able to do just everything together. If you couldn't tell, I'm not even sitting as close as I want to be sitting to her because I'm respecting her bubble a little bit. But
no, she's not.
I would crawl. I would wear. I was going to say something really horrible. I was going to say I would wear her as a skin suit. I love her that much. How we've worked and how things have evolved to where they are now. We've written the 4 books. We've created a business together, both as Bite Me More and Bite Me Digital. And how it's really worked is that it speaks to both of our skill sets. So Lisa has a totally bionic palate. She does these little squirrel nibbles and she can tell you what's in something. Whereas I'm like, I got no idea. It tastes good to me. But she really taught me how to cook. And so we have her skill set, and mine is more writing and design. So that part of what we do comes out of here, but I really just do it to make her laugh. So,
and she does.
If
it works every time.
The theme, I do everything for her.
Yeah.
Well, we can see the close relationship. Lisa, have you always laughed at your sister?
Always. Like, she never fails to make me laugh.
And the key, I think, is laugh at your sister. She didn't say laugh with your sister.
Yeah, a bit of both. But you know what? We have a call every morning at 8:30 just to start our day off right. And
like, hey, what's happening?
You know, we talk about absolutely nothing, but we make each other laugh, and the day goes on.
People think we're talking about them, and we're not. We're actually talking about like our double chins or our chin hairs, or like.
So who's the salty and who's the sweet?
Sorry, you can't figure that out yet.
Of course we can, but we want you to admit it.
Me, super salty and puffy from all the salt that I've consumed. A little bit puffy. She's like, if you cut her open, her blood is chocolate, and her veins.
I like chocolate.
She does like chocolate, but
I do like.
We do give off this impression to people that I'm actually the tougher, bitchier one because I talk more, but in fact,
I'm a Leo. I've got an edge.
And what are you? What are you?
I'm an Aquarian.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense, right?
Yes.
She goes with the flow. I do, actually.
Yeah, you kind of do.
Aquarians are fun and feisty, but
Yeah, she's feisty and fun.
Thank you.
That's a good description.
I like Leos a lot, so
yeah. Leos are very warm and my sister's a Leo too, and I definitely feel like she's so warm and comforting. And yeah, you guys definitely have such a presence together, and you bounce off each other. We can totally see that in all of your videos and in your cookbooks. So we're so excited to dive in deeper with you about a lot of the recipes and how you got here. So I'd like to invite our featured goddesses on now. Another Aquarius is Lara, and she's also Canadian.
Lara.
She is my sister-in-law, and her and I talk often about dinner. Right, Lara, about what's for dinner. And she laughs at my kids when they're like, are these critics, like, Mom, this tastes shit, like you made it 5 times this week. And I always call Lara and I'm like, Lara, please give me something. So Lara, what would you like to ask the sisters today?
Well, I was going to say, I think that's because Karen is a little more edgy, and I think I'm sensitive, so I do not like your kids insulting you in the kitchen because you're working so hard. So enough of that, if they're listening.
Enough.
Well, first of all, I am a fan favorite of your cookbooks, and like Karen, I started off with your first one way back when the kids were younger. So it's just your creativity and twists on recipes was just so exciting and new, and I still make some of those from the first cookbook, but I'm adoring your latest one, Bite Me Balance. I have it here. Yes.
Oh, atta girl.
Yeah, because we don't.
Yeah. Honestly, we are the worst promoters of our own stuff.
I have been screenshotting pictures of these recipes and sending them to my friends, because that granola, Lisa, is the best granola I've ever.
Thank you.
And back off on the granola. Enough about the granola, people. She says it's her favorite recipe in the book.
Like, people are very intrigued by adding the fresh ginger, like not fresh ginger, the ginger
candy.
Yeah.
So that was phenomenal, and
I thought of it myself.
And the Thai soup I've made, and cooking with za'atar has been really great, a new spice that I haven't used before. But I wanted to ask you, there are definitely, like, this is a very nutrition focused cookbook, which I love for clean eating. And then I see there's also some great treats and foods that aren't so nutritious. So what's your approach to nutritional composition of these recipes?
Well, we were honestly super lucky to grow up in a home where sugar, like our mom was always baking. You know, she baked cookies. If there was a cookie and you felt like a cookie, you ate a cookie and you moved on from it. So we grew up in an environment that was very much, nothing was verboten. So we developed what I would think is for lack of a better word, a very normal relationship with food and with eating and with having a balanced dinner, and then maybe enjoying dessert afterwards, or not. If you didn't feel like it, you did it. So our first book is, when you look through all of the books, there really is that balance. We just happen to call it out in the fourth book, whereby our recipes really are 75% healthy, 25% butter. And our philosophy is, if you're going to eat a cookie, eat the very best cookie you can create, or you're never going to be satisfied, and you may as well eat that sleeve of, Oreos. Not that there's anything wrong with Oreos. Sorry, Mr. Nabisco. Just the idea of quality ingredients, of knowing what's going into everything that you put in your mouth. Lisa makes the recipes extremely accessible. Everything's available at your local grocery store. You don't have to go on a hunt for fig paste or whatever. You don't really have to have a blowtorch, though she loves her blowtorch and won't let me touch it.
Yeah.
She makes it so the average Joe, who's myself, can put dinner on the table every night and look like a superhero. So, I mean, that's really, when you guys asked, or when we were asked what started the journey, it was also that we didn't have a go-to cookbook that would consistently answer the question, what's for dinner? And Lisa's recipes really do. I test them first. She'll pass them off to me. I'll test them and I'll say, I don't understand this step.
And she's a great cook now. She won't say it, but she's.
Oh, I'll say it.
Oh, you will?
Oh, I am amazing now.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. There you go.
Oh, I'm not shy to say it. But
she really does. She'll cook for 20, 30 people, no problem now.
Because I now have the recipes that give me the confidence. So if I am able to churn out success after success, and you know what, it's not to say there aren't some dogs in the bunch, because I've had a meal or two where I go, oh boy, my cooking mojo just wasn't there. But to be able to have that, go in the kitchen and have that confidence, to have this little one on my shoulder as I read through the recipes and follow the directions, I know it's, for no mistake of hers, that 95% of the time it's going to work, and 5% of the time I'm distracted or it doesn't work out. It's because,
and it's okay.
It's called human error. So that's okay too. Order a pizza. Have a bowl of cereal.
Yeah, well, I believe in that theory. I think you're right when it comes to the desserts and that rich flavor. It really does help if you just want to have a little slice of cake and then you're not going back for more. And everything is very colorful too, which I think is really appealing when you're serving dinner. It's been a great experience, and I'm continuing to leaf through this, and yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. Listen, our greatest compliment was, not greatest, but one of my favorite ones actually, and this is going to sound super strange, is someone told us a while back that someone who had been working with her in her home was no longer working with her, and the only thing that went missing was her copy of Bite Me. So we think if it's a stealable book, if someone wants to steal it,
it's a good,
we like that. Don't take the furs, don't take the jewelry, just take the cookbook.
I love how you talk about dessert, because when I deprive myself of a really good tasting buttery dessert, I'll go and take raw cocoa and add Truvia to it and mix it up. It's disgusting, but it doesn't satisfy that urge. And I think too, raising Camille, really? That face. But it's true.
Yeah,
But
right,
if we
Camille?
don't have the dessert, like I think too, just learning how to self-regulate and have your kids learn how to self-regulate and satisfy that craving, especially when
Yeah.
you're in, you're getting your period and you're really craving chocolate, have that delicious cookie and move on, right?
Between us, so we have 6 kids between us and 5 daughters.
Yeah.
And so our girls are in their early
20s.
They're young adults. They are inundated with messaging of you need to have a waist like this and a bum like this, that you're not good enough the way you are. So we've really, over the years, tried to develop this relationship with food and with their perspective of food and their bodies. I feel like we've done a pretty good job of it. Like we've had, the cake, the cookies around, and they don't tend to do a face wash in them every time they see them. They enjoy great flavors and they enjoy fresh foods and balanced diets. And one of my daughters just came home from university on a break and said, "Mom, of all my friends, I had me," and she mentioned Lisa's twin daughters, because they're all the same age, have the most normal relationship with food. She said 80% of my friends have anorexic tendencies, bulimia. Like there are a lot of issues because of the messaging they're constantly getting. And that made me feel good, knowing that.
Absolutely. I too have 2 daughters and I see that as well. Like just the constant messaging. And then when they do go away and leave the home, and how do they treat
Mm-hmm.
food? I wanted to introduce Michelle, featured goddess. Her and I were both from Toronto. She had lived in Chicago, and Michelle and I had a dinner group once a month. And we decided to partner up and have a Canadian night. And we made all the Canadian favorites. And the funniest thing was I made a chicken pot pie, and we labeled everything. And the thing is, chicken pot pie is not Canadian, but seal pot pie is what we wrote, because we thought it would be funny to see if our friends, not to put our American friends down, but honestly, they believed us. They thought, "Oh, you eat seal pot pie?"
Or moose pot pie is delicious too. We love a good moose pot pie.
We made poutine. We made maple salmon. It was really hot dogs with ketchup.
Did you make butter tarts?
Montreal.
No, we didn't make butter tarts. We should have, Michelle.
Did we not? Yeah, I guess. No, we made Nanaimo bars.
Nanaimo bars.
Oh, Nanaimo.
You guys are fun.
Yeah.
Michelle has some questions for you now.
I do. We also painted our nails. We had this artist do our nails in every little iconic Canadian symbol we could come up with. It was amazing.
That's great.
Very
It
cute.
was really fun. So yeah, I am an expat and I do miss Nanaimo bars and other things like that, butter tarts, all of it. Do you guys have favorite iconic Canadian foods that you love or that you've made?
I'm a huge fan of maple syrup. Like that is my thing. I love it. I love it as is. I love it in salad dressings. I love it.
She just chugs it.
I chug it.
She shoots it. Yeah.
I put it in my soups to sweeten my soups. I use it
roasting vegetables.
Yeah.
Use it.
I use it endlessly. So that would have to be my Canadian.
Yeah, I would have to say mine is
I'm curious.
poutine.
I knew it.
Because I like cheese that makes a sound when I chew it. It's squeaky, squeaky cheese, and gravy and fries. To me, there's nothing wrong with a good poutine. I enjoy salmon. If you're saying salmon is Canadian, yeah, I like a good piece of salmon.
You're just trying to be.
I know. I'm trying to be like her. I'm trying to elevate myself a little from the fries with cheese, squeaky cheese.
Well, do you
and
put
gravy.
ketchup on your hot dogs or
I
mustard?
do. I put ketchup, but I put ketchup, mustard, and relish, and chili sometimes.
Bravo.
So
Chili.
So I don't know about you guys, but I didn't grow up with poutine. I had fries and gravy, but in Toronto, we didn't grow up with poutine.
Or fries.
I didn't know if our mother is an American, so we didn't grow up with poutine. Our mother is from New York.
There you go.
You know, until about 20 years ago, I thought it was LaGuardia. I didn't know there was an R in LaGuardia. Yeah, I'm flying into LaGuardia, and my then husband, well, fiance, said to me, "You're flying where?" And I go, "LaGuardia." And he said, "There's an R. Where's the R?" I go, "There's no R. There's no R." So apparently it's LaGuardia. So we grew up with a New Yorker mom. So I think that might have informed some of, you know, the things we were eating and the stuff we were doing. We were always visiting our grandparents in New York. And so we enjoyed Entenmann's coconut cupcakes and You Bet chocolate syrup and, you know, all this super fun stuff. We watched MTV when it first came on the air.
So we're very advanced.
I mean, hello.
Is that where you got your Sara Lee banana cake?
Yeah. We ate a lot. I mean, Sarah Lisa over here, she is the master of all things baking, and that banana cake from book 1 is killer. But the banana cake in book 4, there's a sheet banana cake.
Mm-hmm.
Did
you make it?
It's delicioso.
I can't wait. Is it different than the other one?
A little bit.
A little bit. Oh, I can't wait to try.
A little bit.
So back to your journey of how you got to where you are. Dina has some questions.
Oh, she's here. She's starting to snuggle.
I'm getting closer.
First of all, I want to add my favorite Canadian foods, which Karen knows very much.
Please.
Coffee Crisp candy bars.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And Karen and I went back and forth on this one. The toffee, we used to keep it. My dad kept it in the freezer, and we would break off pieces of it.
McCormack?
The red box.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something. McCormick?
Yeah.
Macintosh.
That's the spice.
Macintosh.
Good one.
Yes. And so we would get it when we would go over there, and thank God now for the internet, I can order my Coffee Crisps.
I was going to say, listen, Dina, baby, I'll send you a care package.
In the world.
Yeah, happy to get a case for you.
Thank you. So, yes, about your journey, were there any roadblocks or hiccups along the way? Share?
I would say our learning curve was like this. And we continue to learn every single day. There was nothing easy about it. It has been, you know, when I look back at the 10 years where we started and where we are now, I could never have predicted that we would get to where we are now. But at the same time, I look at our journey, and one thing I would have loved is a mentor along the way, and a female one at that, to really kind of just guide us a little. And when we started, there wasn't this spirit of female togetherness and empowerment. It really was lacking. So we were just kind of in the dark, finding our way. Our first book we self-published. So we were the publishers, the distributors, the authors, the marketers. It was a journey. We took the book across Canada with pots and pans in our suitcases.
Literally pots and pans.
Literally. And we were in a TV interview, and I looked down at my sister, and I'm like, oh, there was like a grain of rice stuck to her jeans from the suitcase. So
it exploded. Don't travel with rice.
Yeah, don't travel with rice.
Yeah.
I don't even know why we had to travel with cooked rice. But that said, it was hard to cook in a hotel room, and we were doing these morning shows, and we had to be ready. So that was so much fun, and it was such a journey, and it was so exciting. Our second book, we decided to leave publishing. So we went with a Canadian publisher who we really vetted, and we looked into, and we should have realized that first meeting when she drank 2 bottles of wine and it was at lunch, that it might have been an issue, but we weren't clued into it. And, you know, we published our second book with her, and it, within 2 months of publishing the book, she went bankrupt. She shuttered literally overnight. So we then entered an 18-month lawsuit, which was really challenging and
not what we do.
We're not combative people. You know, make love, not war, sort of thing. Because if we're playing on the John and Yoko thing. But that was very difficult for us. It was we're very, you know, with each book, we're very attached, like it's our baby. It's an extremely personal process. It's sweat inducing. Like it's a ton of work, and it felt like like our book got buried. So that was very hard for us. And then we kind of shook our heads and said, okay, what next? We ate 3 Musketeers bars. Those are our favorite, the fluffy nougat. And then we picked ourselves up and we started our website, bitememore.com. And we went off in a little bit of a different direction. We started doing these parties, entertaining, how to pull it all together from the dollar store, bringing fun to the table every day. And that was great, but it did take us a little bit away from what is our core, and that is cooking, eating, feeding. So our 3rd book we did with Random House. We were lucky enough to get ourselves in there, and that is like you've gotten to Oz and you're looking behind the curtain. And that was a great experience. But then after the book was out, we realized, again, we thought we could just sit back and watch, the sales roll in, and we didn't have to do much. We just had to show up. And that wasn't the case. So we then had to really understand about the marketing and enter Bite Me Digital with our 4th book. And we've really leveraged Bite Me Digital as our agency, where we do everything from branding, brand building, branding, social media management. We have an influencer network of over 350 that we manage across Canada. So the idea of how to amplify our message. And this 4th book, again, was with Random House, but we were prepared this time. So to say that, and we continue to hustle, and it's a grind, and we're always working. And sometimes we go, when do we get to just stop and sit back? And we realize that if not us, then who? We can't. And so we just keep going. And we're so lucky we have each other, so that if one is feeling like, I can't do this today, the other one is like, come on, girl, we got this. And, if we had to do it alone, it would have been a really different, not half as enjoyable or satisfying experience.
Yeah, I get that. I've had a few businesses and they've been with my best friend, and I feel the same way. Like when I don't want to deal with it that day, there's somebody else to do that. So that leads to my next question. Well, all the stay at home, we're cooking all the time, and my network of friends are sharing recipes, and I subscribed. I watched some of your videos. Out of these cookbooks, and I know you love them all and they're all your babies, but if you're going to start somewhere, what's the one to go with, or what's the favorite, or?
Oh, that's a tough one.
That really.
Who's your favorite kid?
One of them.
I have favorites. I have 3.
One of the
every day it rotates, really, doesn't it?
No, my dog.
Yes.
So one of my 4. I'm going to say my dog. For me personally, it's a bit of a combination. The first one holds so many. It was the beginning, and it's very much my go-to when I want like that classic yum. It's where we started. I look at it now and I think the photography is very dated, but at the same time, when it came out, it was ahead of its time. Like people were like, whoa, what's this? They're putting toys with food, little toys with food. And are these girls crazy? And we kind of were, and it was funny. I think our 4th book, though, our current Bite Me Balance, is the result of all of our learnings along the way. And so it has a photo for every recipe. So it has the high yum factor, but it also has our personalities in it in a way that is different than books past.
Yeah, I would for sure say.
I'd say 1 or 4. I mean, 4. But I love Lick Your Plate is like.
Yeah, I know.
It was our 3rd book, and
really hard question.
Damn you for asking
the
the tough
wrong
ones.
with any of them.
You're like Barbara Walters. I feel like I should.
They are all phenomenal.
We're in the hot seat.
I have all 4 of them. They are all fantastic books, all of them. I mean, but I love I love how you, in the 4th book, you're saying, I haven't tried it yet, but the banana cake, it's so great. And
the granola. Don't forget to make the granola.
I've made the granola. I've made the granola. In fact, I'm out of town right now, and my kids wanted me to make it and bring it here. I didn't have time, but I actually brought the ginger with me.
You have very demanding children. I need to have a word with them.
I think we have to have a word with them, right?
I have a question about the granola. Lisa, what do you recommend? I mean, I could pick something, but what do you think is a perfect addition if somebody in my house doesn't like the ginger, if I want to make a separate batch for my youngest?
I mean, honestly, with that granola, you can leave out any ingredients. So, I mean, yes, if you want to replace it, then you could do any sort of dried fruit in replacement. That would work really well.
Chocolate.
I wasn't going to say chocolate, but I was going to say.
Oh, how about, which leads to Camille's question, how about adding some?
So I had a really fun time watching your video where you guys were making canna butter, which is completely.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Now that was a learning curve.
You know, Camille, I thank you for bringing that up. It was one of our most interesting.
Moments.
You could say that.
High level.
Well, so it was legalization was coming around in Toronto, in Canada, and we thought, what better way to market than to have Lisa experiment in the kitchen a little bit with canna butter. She was she was not herself for a couple of days.
Yeah, I was done. What I didn't realize is as you are actually making the canna butter, all the fumes you're taking in are taking in. So
she came to dinner.
It's a really good lesson to know.
She came to dinner and she looked at me and she goes, "I'm not well."
I'm like, I'm not well.
Don't tell mom and dad.
I mean, he makes the point of saying to pace yourself. So what strand were you guys cooking with too? Because there was I remember one was more talkative and one was more laid back.
Yeah,
so
there's the
like
indica and sativa. One would think it was super talkative because it can't stop talking all the time. But you know, the truth is I had to. We work with 6 other incredible women, and I had to turn to one of the youngins and say, how do I get it? Like, I actually did it. It wasn't legal yet, and I didn't know how to acquire
purchase such a thing.
Grass, weed.
He had a long list of different names for it.
Yes,
I had never heard of some of those too, which was hilarious.
On a serious note on this topic, though, I think everyone has to be very cautious about edibles, and it can go bad.
God, the PSA for
Laura.
Laura.
No, but I completely agree with you because I learned that very quickly is that because I was doing it and I was putting it in food, I didn't know how much was going in it. And so that, which makes you realize you have to be really careful what goes in and who you're buying.
It out.
And baking it changes the strain and the strength of it.
Yes, it was so she
strong.
created this butter, and then from there we created these cookies using said butter. So I think honestly, if someone were going to try this at home, I would go that route versus the idea of like sprinkling some in your brownie batter, because you don't know how it's being distributed that way, and you could end up with some pretty, like Laura said, some pretty dangerous moments.
Yeah, you won't remember eating the brownie, so why even bother baking it in the first place?
We were very
right. Exactly.
We were truthfully, we learned a lot doing that,
we
and
did.
we were quite careful. But I wouldn't really say that we've kind of gone further down that path. That was a really fun experiment, and we don't say no to much other than mud or Jello wrestling in bikinis. We would do it in one-piecers, but maybe not bikinis.
We're past
glad you have your limits.
We do. Hello, Camille. We do have our line. That line.
What's so fabulous about your books, in all of your books, is how we get to know you. What your likes and dislikes are, which is so funny to read, and how one of your likes, I believe, Camille's going to ask you about. She had a question that really, one of your likes really resonated with her.
So, Julie, I read your bio where you said you were wailing in the color purple, and the color purple has a very deep meaning for me. My grandmother was in it. She's in one of the scenes where they're singing, actually, and of course, and then it was filmed in my family's hometown. So I was just like, I can't believe you were singing in it. So I have to ask you more about that. And how did that go?
You see, that was, I misspoke there a little bit because like if you said to me now, and I'm 50, that movie came out when I was probably 16. Was it like around 86, 87?
Yeah. I didn't live in America when it came out, so I heard about it after.
Okay. I sat in the movie theater and I cried to the point, I wailed. That's another expression for crying. And I cried like so audibly that I think I was asked to leave the theater because I was disturbing the other patrons.
We love that movie.
There was something about, I just love that movie so much that it remains to this day. Like it could bring, I don't cry much, and it could bring a tear to my eye. So I would love to know who your grandmother was singing in that, because I will watch it again with a much closer eye and with my tissues in my hand.
No, I don't want to do a spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen the movie, it's the scene where Shug Avery comes back to her church, her father's church, and they're singing the God's trying to tell you something, or the Lord's trying to tell you something. My grandmother's one of the church goers who claps and is wearing black and white. She's very obvious, and I loved hearing her story.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, wow. That was really cute.
That is fantastic.
That is a great fun fact.
Well, I mean, but now I'm curious, did the Alex Trebek thing really happen? I mean, did he really go? Can you tell us more about that?
Sorry, the color purple thing wasn't a fib. It was just
but I mean, I'm sorry.
It's interpretation.
Yeah, because it said wailing in the color purple, so I assumed in the movie as opposed to with
alongside.
But Alex Trebek really did happen. I witnessed it.
We were participating in Emmy's gifting suite. And with our first book, and we had the opportunity to meet, at the time it was like the beginning of Modern Family. So they all came through, and it was super fun. And Trebek came through, and may he rest in peace. He was a delight. And we did capture that moment where he went after my neck.
Actually, though,
there were teeth to neck. I feel like there was contact. And I think maybe because we were fellow Canadians, he felt that this was something that could happen.
Nothing to do with your book being Bite Me.
No. And I looked really good that day. So maybe it was
there you go.
Maybe it was my perfume. Maybe I was wearing Eau de Donut or something. I don't know. But he went
Eau de Donut.
Went after me hard.
A Tim Horton donut. Us Canadians, there is this, like, we like to bite each other. I think there's just this like feeling that we have. Why did you call your book Bite Me, by the way?
We felt it was like, first of all, we had way naughtier ideas.
She had way naughtier ideas.
She wouldn't let me use them. And she's like, our grandmother is going to read that.
I kept thinking, if I could say the name to our grandmother, if I can't say the name to her, we're not using it.
We felt Bite Me is a really obvious name for a cookbook. Like, it just made perfect sense. And being able to say Bite Me without getting in trouble, like I'm the middle child, so I'm always getting in trouble. She's the youngest, she's never getting in trouble. So I liked the idea that I could say something repeatedly and not get in trouble. And I'm still getting in trouble at 50.
So you mentioned empowerment, mentorship, and Ungrateful Goddesses on many of the interviews. We're realizing that, right? We're realizing how important it is to help each other and to lift each other up, especially with women, to put the jealousy out the door and help each other and support each other. But, you still see it in young girls, and it's starting there. And when we support each other and lift each other up, it makes the world such a happier place. That and some chocolate, right? Michelle has some questions about advice.
Yeah, so I wonder, you talked about mentoring, and now it's your turn. I guess you can mentor others, but I'm wondering, what advice you would give to, especially to women starting out, their own business, possibly becoming chef or writer or anything really.
Well, first of all, we mentor and we continue to do so. We do not
say no to anybody who calls or anything.
So whoever's listening, call if you want to get, we're happy to share the lessons we've learned along the way. That to us is sort of a gift we can give back in a way. If we can give those shortcuts to people, or those, you may not have thought of this, but you should look out for that. What advice would we give?
I think the other thing, like for us, is we've always been true to ourselves. So we are who we are. We've never had to work it.
Like
saying
when this Zoom meeting is over, we're going to continue to sit here and talk about
exactly
if our jeans feel kind of tight today, or whatever we feel like talking about. We are who we are, and that's truly like that's one of the reasons why it has. One of the things that has made it easier for us along the way. I think as well, I would recommend, though it's harder to do, is you have to be tenacious and you have to develop a thicker skin when starting out. You have to, like Lisa said, stay true to who you are and know that if you're doing something that you believe in, it will come through. But there's no such thing as, we interviewed Neely Lotan, who's the designer from Israel, a little while back. And one of the things she said was, and I know this is a well-known quote, I just don't know who said it other than her, which was, I was an overnight success. And it took me 15 years to become an overnight success. So there is no such thing. I mean, it's so rare that something hits and it doesn't require that type of work and that dedication and the grind and the constant hustle. But, maybe it does work for that 0.1%, and that's the one you hear about. But really, the underestimating the amount of work that goes into things is something that I think probably happens a lot and causes people to give up before they should. And the idea of just to surround yourself with people who are knowledgeable and smarter than you also helps. Check your ego. It's not about ego. It's about, how can you all make this work together and put something out there that you can feel proud of. So I think that's pretty much.
How do you feel about, sorry, Michelle, go ahead.
No, I think if you're passionate about something, it makes it much easier to put in that work. But also, would you advise getting a mentor? Because maybe they don't agree with what you're doing, but I think, you spoke about I think you didn't have that.
We could have avoided many of those curves. Not to say they wouldn't have happened, but we would have been more prepared.
Sure.
And we could have braced ourselves and seen them coming. Other things we just had to kind of eat our chocolate bars, we gave ourselves 12 hours of moping, and then we figured it out the next day. Allowing yourself that time to really figure it out. I would have loved to have had a mentor along the way. I think women helping women is the greatest thing. But again, as I said, when we started out, it wasn't part of the conversation at all.
But you two had each other, which is awesome.
Yeah, and it's the best.
As I said, that's what made it easier. But what you guys are doing is so important and so incredible for building up other women and really honoring what kind of has gotten them to where they are in their journey. I think is so hugely important and so empowering for others. And we applaud you.
Thank you. I mean, I selfishly like to learn, but I like to share. Like, that's what this journey is all about. I'm learning so much, and I know that my featured goddesses are as well. I wanted to ask you about imposter syndrome. I was talking with Lara, my sister-in-law, about that because I'm hearing that a lot, and I'm feeling it a little bit sometimes. I'll be completely raw and honest. I mean, I have XYZ degrees. We all have those degrees, but then we have life experience. And when we're talking about things, even today, about just our journeys, sometimes I get this, when it takes you off that path, like, how do you know? Who are you? What are you talking about? Did you guys experience that at all?
We still do.
Oh, all the time. All the time.
Sorry, does anyone here wake up and go, I got it all going on every day? Like, there are many a days where we say, oh, we're terrible. What have we done? I think if you're not actually ever doubting yourself, you're doing something wrong. Like, you need to constantly be checking, checking on yourself, but you also have to somehow be able to close off the noise that is not important. You know, if I really dug into what, you know, looking at our YouTube channel, what people write, some people are very complimentary, others not so much. And who do you think they pick on? The big one. They call me the big one.
What? They didn't like the slutty brownies? Come on, your red lipstick? Red lipstick? No, that was awesome.
No. We honestly, we make each other laugh. So when we did those, they really are called, like if you Google search them, they're called slutty brownies. I have now changed them on the site because I was called out by someone in just about the last month.
Yeah,
that 2 weeks. She felt it was really
condescending to women.
Yeah, tone deaf and everything else. And I said, okay, you're 100% right. It's they're called slutty brownies. It doesn't make it okay, but that's what they're called because they're so insanely decadent and outrageous and everything else, because you throw everything into them.
Yeah. Including the sleeve of Oreos, basically.
Yes. Yeah, basically. So, I changed it to outrageous brownies because really our intent is, beyond the words bite me, our intent is not to offend. It really is to have fun with things and to be playful. Would I have made that video today that we did about 3 or 4 years ago, the way I did it? Maybe I would have, but it wouldn't have been. It's never done with us in any sort of malice or any. We're not trying to take women down a peg. I mean, we truly believe in girl power, women.
And laughing. We just like to laugh.
We laugh at everything. So if we've done it really unintentionally. Never to offend.
No.
Never to offend.
Yeah, your intentions were never. I didn't feel like it was, but I like how you listened to your audience and you changed a little bit, but you didn't.
I said,
"You're off."
My bad. Yeah. My bad. It was totally like we should have thought of that.
We did say we should have been down that. Like we should have.
In the cancel culture, I would be quick to change things where I think I've done something wrong. Right. And there are other things where perhaps I may not listen so much, but I think she was 100% right.
Okay, so if our viewers, listeners want to contact you for recipes, cookbooks, YouTubes, of course, your help with perhaps their brand marketing, how can they do that?
So we have a website, bitememore.com. We also have another one called bitemedigital.com, and both speak to each other. And you can reach us also if you want to, understand a little bit more about what sort of hurdles you might encounter if you're thinking of writing a cookbook. You can always reach out to us. We're available, and we're happy to dialogue that with anyone.
So I was thinking the other day that I would love to collaborate to write a culinary goddess cookbook. And I will not have my children be taste testers.
They're the worst. You'd never get past page 1.
Never.
At that rate.
Never. No, I love them dearly, but they will have to just sit there with their mouths open watering. What are you going to call your next cookbook?
We're so knee deep in promoting this book. We actually haven't thought of a next book. I'm not sure. We're not sure what that would look like and whether we would venture off into cooking with kids or cooking with, are they little bites? Are they little nibbles? I don't know. Nibbles.
Well, you'll have to crack open your Easy Bake Oven. I had one too, and I remember making the chocolate with the light bulb and like magic.
Wasn't that incredible?
It really was. It was such.
She stained my yellow shag carpet with the chocolate, but that's okay because I sold the cakes on our street.
And you made a profit.
She did.
Good.
1 for 5 cents, 2 for a quarter.
I love that story. And I hope our listeners and viewers are becoming inspired by this. I know we all are. And I cannot wait to make a bunch of the other recipes and to share with my friends and family. And thank you so much for your inspiration,
Thank you for having us,
for inspiring, and for your empowering us, and for just creating such delicious recipes. And I truly feel like a rock star goddess when I make your delicious treats.
Now I'm going to make her snuggle with me.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on Grateful Goddesses today.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
You
You are a bunch of goddesses. Thank you.
Up next, favorite things. Opening up to happiness and joy.
Welcome everyone to the favorite things portion of Grateful Goddesses. We're here with Julie Albert and Lisa Gnat, authors of the many cookbooks, including Bite Me More, Bite Me, Lick Your Plate, Bite Me Balance. And we're going to talk about our favorite things. I brought mine today. Mine is in relation to food. When I was younger, all I would eat every night for dinner is I'd crack open or with my can opener, the ones that make a lot of noise and spin around, the Heinz spaghetti. It's a Canadian spaghetti, and I would put ketchup on it as well. I loved that. I'm sorry. I love ketchup on everything. It's just who I am. I'm sorry, not sorry. Anyways,
Sorry.
I loved and still do love pasta. So I brought along my strainer, which you definitely need. And I just found out, I know not too long ago, that you should add a little pasta water with your pasta because it helps. I'm not sure why. Maybe you guys can help me.
She'll tell you.
And I also have my box grater because a real Parmesan shredded on top, and don't, be careful not to cut yourself, which I have done.
Knuckles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The worst. So I love some Parmesan. So really, if I could have a dish every night, I would have spaghetti and tomato sauce with cheese. So it just makes me so happy, and I would make that all the time. So I want to turn it over to Michelle. What did you bring along?
On that note, these tongs, every single time I cook, I have different sizes, different tips. And by the way, I don't know if you can see, but they're actually dirty because I haven't washed them from last night. That tells a little bit about me.
No, you're a goddess. I love it. Unapologetic.
Those are great.
Always
those
unapologetic. Well, sometimes I have to, but they're great.
Do you know I use those for my preschool to help to pick up pom-poms to help with manual dexterity?
I thought you were going to say to pick up the kids.
I use it to pick up the kids. Laura, what did you bring for our show and tell today?
Okay, well, I'm going to start with two things that I didn't bring physically but I'm just going to describe them. They're in my kitchen, and one I shared on an earlier episode. It's a ladle that my mother used in her kitchen, and it has a broken handle. And I love using kitchen utensils that were passed down to me. So I have my mom's ladle and a potato masher that is still functioning, and it has a blue Teflon handle. And then I also have my grandmother's cookie tin, and I put the granola that I made from your cookbook in that cookie tin. And those are amazing. I like, they just give me such comfort in my kitchen. But I brought along physically my acupuncture ball.
Oh, best ball.
Love this.
What's it
I
called,
travel with it. You can order, and I don't know what the brand is, but you can order it on Amazon. And I could have put it behind my back during this interview. So like literally whatever you're doing in the day after you cook, you just put it wherever you need it, under your legs, sitting down, and it gives a massage.
Did you just hesitate like you were going to say buttocks, but you didn't?
No. Under your
the hesitation. Under your buttocks.
But I'm seriously missing a massage during COVID. So this is a great piece of
good one.
Equipment, apparatus. Highly recommend.
I like that one.
Thank you for sharing. And I love how, you say bum in Canada. I know I keep bringing up the Canadian stuff. I can't help it. When I moved to the States, it was butt, not bum. So there you go. I might edit.
What about tushy?
Or tushy. Well, of course, sit on your tushy. Yes, of course.
Sit on your tush.
Camille, what did you bring to share?
Well, of course, I had to bring set picture of my grandmother from the great family, the Color Purple. So
I think I was in the background there somewhere.
Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah, and right there you can see Julie.
So cool. I love that.
I was like, wait, I don't remember.
Never has
that
there
many,
been a movie that made me cry so hard.
It's a great film. My best friend and I, we quote it all the time with each other. Like the clap thing, whenever he has to go to the airport, we'll do that with each other, or just
love it.
It's so many great. And I found the VHS recently that I have of The Color Purple. So I'm like, I think my daughter's almost at the age, but we lost my grandmother last year. So it's anytime I get any moments with her again, like being able to talk about The Color Purple, it means a lot to me.
I'm going to watch it.
My favorite thing.
I want to watch it again too.
Steven Spielberg directed it, and it's a fabulous.
Just one of those Oprah.
Thank you.
Oprah starred. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Dina.
It's my pleasure.
So my favorite thing today, I'm going to sort of try to bring it all back around to our meals and such. There was a show, it's probably been a while now. It was called, it starred the Novigrats, which are these design couple and their family. And I watched it with my girls. I have 3 kids, my 2 daughters, and I watched it and we loved it and it went off. We could never find it again. Since then, they came out with some decor line. And last night was Hanukkah, and so my 3 children bought us a new doormat, and this one says family on it.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so I'm super excited to put it out, and I love it. And then, I
don't recall my children giving me anything for Hanukkah, which is weird.
Yeah, Dina, good work. Good.
Make them look bad.
I bet they don't complain about the meals at all. Can we trade? No, I love my kids, but that's beautiful.
By the way, Karen's an amazing cook and an even better entertainer. You're an amazing host.
You're very sweet. I follow good recipes, like the girls, their book. Honestly, you said it. If you have a good recipe, you have the confidence. And that's what you guys gave me, honest to God. I was really lacking in confidence in the kitchen. And I'll never forget when I was dating my husband, I made a veal parmesan and he came over and ate it and he was like, My brother came home and he's like, this is horrible. So it was kind of funny. I think it runs in the family.
It was because Eric was used to my mom's veal parmesan that was just like smothered in thick layers of mozzarella.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm going to share, I've turned that into fish parmesan. I make it with white fish. And it was the way I got my son to start eating fish.
Oh, that's good.
Good idea.
Yeah. Smothered in tomato sauce and cheese.
I used to do that with broccoli. Okay. So let's move on to our guest today. What did you guys bring for your favorite things?
Am I allowed to say her?
Of course.
I brought her. But I also have a favorite thing that always goes on me. It's an evil eye, and I feel better when I wear it. And the beauty of this one is there's also a little one that goes behind my neck so that it's getting people from the front and the back. If they're giving me the evil eye in the back, I'm protected, and in the front, I'm protected. So,
that's beautiful. Did someone give it to you, or you bought it somewhere for yourself?
I bought it for myself, and I haven't taken it off in about, I take it off to go to sleep because I don't sleep in it, but I wear it every day and have been for about 5 years now. Yeah, it's my favorite. It just makes me feel protected. I'm a little superstitious like that. Like I have the red, the red string that my daughter tied on my wrist 2 years ago in Israel, that, until it falls off, I won't take it off. So it's on its last legs at the moment.
Yeah, it's very fine.
It looks like it wants to come off, but
be careful it doesn't come into a cookie when you're eating, right?
That could happen because I do that quite a bit. Yeah, but she's my favorite thing. If I'm allowed to say her.
Yes, and I would definitely say the same about her. But if I had to pick a kitchen appliance that is my truly favorite thing, it would be my mini food processor. It's this big, and I use it all the time. I use it for dressings. I use it just to cut up nuts any sort of fresh herbs. Yeah, and I always have a backup one because I don't want it to ever die and not have a backup.
Another thing we love in the kitchen is the Immersion blender. Costs next to nothing. It's like,
I think
it's
it's
$20.
brand. Yeah.
You stick it in the pot when you're making sauces or soups that you need to puree, and you avoid that transferring of hot liquids into a blender and the splashing and the ouch, especially when you're cooking in a t-shirt. That is one of the lifesavers of all time.
Yeah.
And cheap and cheerful, and gotta have it. Also, in the sense of your grater, we use the Microplane Grater a lot. So those for zesting, for chocolate, for Parmesan.
So good.
Amazing, easy, fit right in the dishwasher. They're flat, they're long, they're great.
Yeah.
I just got my first immersion blender. My friend sent me a potato leek recipe because my husband
Game changer, right?
Well, I called her. I'm like, do I need this to make the soup? She goes, 100%. So like, get on Amazon, push the soup for a couple of days. I got it. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what's going to happen. Game changer. I'm making that soup a lot.
But
Game changer.
How do you clean
the microplane? Game changer for garlic, zest.
Garlic, ginger.
That's my favorite.
Me too.
I have trouble cleaning the immersion.
It should separate.
I feel like
you put the bottom half in the separate.
Mine's
in the dishwasher.
Mine's about 20 years
You know what,
old.
You
Dolly?
can freshen up on that one.
I'm going to send you a gift. Send me your address. I'll get you one on Amazon. Because you are a goddess, and
I need to upgrade my appliance.
Make your life easier.
Yes.
You know, sometimes tools, a lot of it is in the tools too that you use. A good chef's knife, you know, making sure that you have that knife that you love and is properly sharpened. She just said to me the other day, your knife needs sharpening.
I came over, I was trying to cut something. I'm like, I said
sharpen it.
Yeah, I had to sharpen her knives.
Can you tell us why the pasta water is so important?
Oh yeah.
It makes it brings the sauce together, so it makes a smoother sauce. So
it emulsifies, right?
Yeah, and it makes like a velvety texture of your sauce. So when you're making the pasta before you drain it, just take out like half a cup. You're not going to end up using half a cup, but when you're heating the pasta with whatever sauce you're doing, you just add a little bit of water, and you'll see it creates.
Do you like that she's also doing it with her hands? Like,
yeah, because I knew I was adding the water and I was stirring the pasta.
And then there's some of this happening, and then that.
I'm usually in the kitchen.
That, and then that.
Well, do you have advice for those of us who aren't really good in the kitchen? Like,
tell us what your
confidence.
Camille, tell us.
And
tell
then
us the problem. Camille.
He's insatiable. He could eat from the moment he wakes up to the moment he falls asleep. He's always hungry because he works at a nonstop cardio job. He's a UPS driver. So it's impossible. Everything I cook because I try to eat healthier because I've been on a diet since I was 12. And it's like, how do you balance? Well, it was because my parents were vegetarian. Not really was I on a diet, but limitations, I should say. And so how do you find that confidence? I guess it is the tools, but what other things would you suggest to help maybe spice up food really easily that would make those box dinners maybe taste more gourmet or step it up a notch?
I think the one thing you have to know is you have to have confidence that you're never making a mistake. So try to add a new spice or try to
but you see, I say that's easy for her to say, because if she said to me, add a new spice, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know how to add a new spice.
But if you just choose one item and, you say so take, for example, any soup you ever make, if you add a little bit of lemon juice at the end of it, it brings up the flavor.
Okay, but that's not going to make someone like a great cook.
A great cook. Okay. What would make them a great cook?
What would make them a great cook, and I know this sounds really self-serving, but it's true because I started at nothing, was to follow her recipes because they work. So, if you want to, I would cook smarter, not harder. Like I would go for a big batch soup and I would put half of it in the freezer and half of it, in the fridge, and let's all eat it up. And then I know in my head that I have something to pull out for next week. Because sometimes I run out of hours in the day and I don't really feel like eating cereal and toast for dinner.
Yeah. With COVID, the freezer has become like a new thing for me. I never froze anything before.
Because she was always buying fresh the day of.
Yeah. Like I shopped every single day and I would cook fresh. But now I'm like, I find the freezer is actually so helpful. If I'm making one lasagna, I'm making 2 lasagnas and I'm freezing one. And, it's so great to have that to pull out.
I keep a binder of meal plans. So if I'm making something in that week, like whatever I'm making for the week, unlike her, I don't want to I can't go grocery shopping every day. Like,
yeah,
so I want to go once. I want to go once. I want to go once at the, on Sunday and get everything for the week that I'm going to be cooking. So I write out, let's say, the 4 things that I'm going to cook that week. And then I keep those sheets of paper in a binder. So every time when I go to figure out my menu for the week, I don't always have to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to think what's going to go with this, that's going to go with this, and how am I going to bring the balance to the whole week? And, I don't want to make 4 chicken dishes in a week. So, what can I throw in there? It just takes a little bit of the thinking out of it. One of the things we're thinking of doing, or I haven't told her yet, is making a PDF of meal plans based on all of the Bite Me books and recipes.
Please do
which
it.
I think it would be like a game changer for people, because to be able to take 4 books and get 200 meals out of it, like if I never had to think again about what goes with what, and it would actually be a game changer for me. So
that would be great.
You heard it here first.
That's fantastic. Because
before she did,
the moms here, we're making 3 meals a day. Yeah, we're exhausted.
I set up a menu.
Camille, you really do have to try the recipes from their book because they're so easy to follow. I just made 2 weeks ago the I'm not going to say the title right, but it was the 1-pan chicken.
Okay. Yeah,
one
skillet chicken. Yeah.
No, it was like
the sheet pan.
The sheet pan.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Camille, if you go on the website, there really are, like, we have over 350, 400 recipes on the site.
Thank you, Julie and Lisa, for sharing your favorite things and for joining us today on Grateful Goddesses.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Bite me, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Unleashed your inner goddess yet? Thanks for joining us today on Grateful Goddesses. We invite you to visit our website, www.gratefulgoddesses.com, to access today's show notes as well as other helpful resources. Don't forget to leave a review. Until next time, stay strong and empowered to be a grateful goddess.